Hello everyone. Welcome back to Simply Sports Talk. Today we're going to be talking about a controversial topic, but before we get into that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next few videos. Like I said, this is a controversial topic as many Jags fans feel strongly about this topic, and I think it's a universally agreed topic that everyone agrees on this. Jawaan Taylor. Jawaan Taylor. And you might ask, what about Jawaan Taylor? Jawaan Taylor has to go. Jawaan Taylor has to go. I think that's a universal agreement amongst Jags fans and people who watch the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jawaan Taylor has to go. And to fully grasp why Jawaan Taylor has to go, it would make more sense if you watched my most recent video, which is the Cam Robinson video, where I explain how Cam Robinson is important to this team. Now, when looking at the numbers, Cam Robinson might have struggled in his first few years, giving up 5-6 sacks, but you could see the progression as he continued to come down, and even this most recent year, he only gave up 1 sack and 5 penalties. When you look at his partner, the person on the opposite side of him, Jawaan Taylor, you see early on in his career, he struggled with penalties, and he gave up a lot of sacks. And not much has changed. Yes, he's slightly gotten better. He even led the league in sacks this year. He led the league in penalties this year. He was the most penalized player. And you would think after 3 years in the NFL, this guy would finally stop getting penalties, as he came into the NFL with a lot of penalties. But as the years have gone by, he's still been a very penalty-ridden player. And I'll admit his sacks have gone down. His sacks have gone down from his first 2 years. He's down from 9 and 8 sacks to 6 sacks. But that's not much of a jump. That's not what we're looking for, as Cam Robinson went from 5 sacks to now only giving up 1 sack. That's progression. He ended up having multiple penalties. He was a penalty player, very penalized player in the early part of his career, but he only had 5 penalties. That's progression. That's progression. That's what Jags fans want to see. Progression. And Jawaan Taylor, like I said, has to go. He hasn't progressed much. He's still giving up a lot of sacks. He's still getting penalized. He was the most penalized player last year. Jawaan Taylor on the film doesn't even look impressive. I don't understand why the Jacksonville Jaguars haven't gotten rid of Jawaan Taylor yet, as he reminds me a lot of Taven Bryan. They're like, oh, maybe potentially he can pop. Maybe potentially if we just keep waiting, keep giving him years, he'll pop. And I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case at all, as we recently got rid of Taven Bryan, and I think inevitably he will be traded too. Ironically, both of those players are from the Gators, Florida, and that is a school I'll be going to in the future. But I'll admit not many players from the Gators have turned into elite players. No player in the last decade from the Florida Gators has turned into a multiple-time Pro Bowler. I mean, there's only one guy who was a one-time Pro Bowler, and that was Keanu Neal. Keanu Neal, the safety. It's the Gators. It seems like the Jaguars continually draft Gator players, and they just never seem to pop. Taven Bryan, C.J. Henderson, Jawaan Taylor. Those are just 3 players, 2 first-round picks, 1 second-round pick. The Jaguars continually draft these players from the Gators, and they just don't seem to click. However, I do believe Jawaan Taylor time has come. I believe it's over for Jawaan Taylor. I believe in the next 1 or 2 years, he will be traded or cut or something. He's not going to be a long-time Jaguar unless we just see a dramatic improvement, and I don't believe that's the case. I don't think that'll happen. Now, with Jawaan Taylor, he not only doesn't have good numbers, the film isn't helping at all. Jawaan Taylor continually gets beat. He's giving up pressures. He's not holding up his end of the bargain. He's not holding up his side like Cam is. He's not a great run blocker. He's sort of just, he's not even average. He's not even an average right tackle, as the average right tackle is not giving up a lot of penalties and a lot of sacks like Jawaan Taylor is. He's one of the worst in the league right now. That's why this brings me hope, as we drafted Walker Little, who was a left tackle, but he played right tackle also. And I believe in the next year or two, he will sooner or later take his spot as the right tackle. And hopefully him and Cam could be an amazing tackle tandem. We'll see in the future, as we do need to make sure that we protect Trevor. And a lot of fans were hoping that we drafted a tackle to put on the opposite side of Cam, because Jawaan Taylor's been such a problem. And he's been such a bad tackle for us that the fans are just tired of Jawaan Taylor, and they believe if we would have drafted a tackle, Jawaan Taylor would be out. But I believe since we drafted Walker Little last year, that's his replacement. I don't think that's Cam Robinson's replacement. We just gave him a 3-year deal, and I don't think we're just going to waste that Walker Little pick. So I believe that the Jaguars will sooner or later train Walker Little enough to where we can put him at right tackle. Now, I do believe in the next few years, Jawaan Taylor, barring that he just turns into a stud and just refuses to give up sacks and is not very penalized, if he continues down this path of a very penalized player and someone who gives up a lot of sacks, I do think Walker Little will take his spot. I'm hoping Walker Little takes his spot in the future, but we'll see in the future. But thank you for watching this video. Like I said in the beginning, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is Simply Sports Talk signing out. Bye.